Hey, you! Do you want to make money out of generative AI but you have no idea what to do? Well, today, I tell you what not to do because this half-baked AI product is an absolute disaster. I'm talking about Rabbit R1. Guys at Humane, don't start jumping off your seats because after this one, I'll surely pay you guys a visit. So right off the bat, R1, this little orange gadget that's like a mini GoPro, but for AI stuff, promised to save us from clicks, web pages, and apps for money. Not gonna lie, it did save us from all of them, but only via its bad user UX. You're probably wondering what it actually does, right? I don't really think it's good for anything, so let me just requote the CEO. By the way, before taking these claims too seriously and rushing to order one for yourself, know that the CEO guy is backing off from his own claims. So the CEO, Jesse Liu, from this company called Rabbit, came out swinging at CES 2024. He basically said our smartphones suck up too much of our time to do basic stuff. Like, why do we need to tap through a bunch of screens and switch between apps? He did have a point, especially when you compare it to a Chinese app where WeChat does everything from chatting to paying the bills in just one app. So I totally get where he was coming from. Sure, iPhones have Siri, Androids have Google Assistant, but let's not even talk about Bixby. It's just plain annoying. Bottom line, there are tons of these virtual assistants out there. And yeah, they can set alarms and reminders, but they're not exactly seamless. Jesse called out Siri, Alexa, and Cortana, saying they're all lacking in some way. Then came the magical device out of oblivion, hailed as mankind's only solution to all its problems, the R1. It was supposed to be the simplest dang computer you ever used, no apps needed. Just talk to it like a normal person and get stuff done quickly. But it did not come out as what it was supposed to. It had issues, and they're pretty familiar if you've dealt with gadgets before. First off, battery life, as bad as it gets. They claim it's got a massive battery, but man, it drains faster than you eat. You're stuck charging it multiple times a day, and even then, it might be dead by morning. Charging from 0 to full takes an eternity, like 45 minutes for just a tiny battery. And don't get me started on the features it's missing. No alarms, no timers, can't even take photos or send emails. Who designs a gadget these days without basic functions like those? It's made by Teenage Engineering, and they've gone all in on the quirky design. Bright orange, analog controls, and this annoying scroll wheel that sticks out and scrolls unintentionally. No haptic feedback either, so you're left scrolling endlessly. And get this, it does have a touchscreen, but they barely let you use it for anything besides typing in terminal mode. Like, why have a touchscreen if you're not going to let me tap my way through menus? The list of companies' bummers started the moment their CEO stepped onto the stage, and these were the questions I had in my mind when watching the event. Simplest way to commute, but do I really need it? Are we ready to change our habits? Is it a solid alternative? As for the first question, let's dig into some studies. According to reviews.org, nearly 90% of Americans check their phones within 10 minutes of waking up, and 60% keep their phones by their side while they sleep. It's a tough habit to break, so convincing people to ditch their phones for this gadget, it's gonna take some serious marketing mojo. And boy, what they did, just give me a second, I need to laugh out loud. Turns out that the answer for all these questions is a no. One thing that struck me during the demo was the lack of hard numbers or comparisons to show how powerful this device really is. Lots of promises, not a lot of substance. But hey, they're a startup, so maybe I shouldn't expect the world from them just yet. So let's talk about what the R1 is good for. Well, according to the company, R1 can plan full-fledged vacations, which I highly doubt. It can tell you food recipes, and if you enjoy the food, you can ask it to order its ingredients from the supermarket. You can snap a picture of your fridge contents and get recipe suggestions, or point at a landmark to learn about it. To add to the list with R1, you can stream music and edit Photoshop images. Not only that, it can help you in scheduling tasks and messages, and basically all the other perky AI-assisted things you're used to. Those were the marketed claims, but in reality, only one of them is correct, which is about telling you food recipes and saving them. All right, let's break down this tech frustration. It feels like a lot of these companies are doing things backwards. Instead of finishing a product and then selling it, they're selling it first and then delivering something half-baked. The idea seems to be, put it out there, fix it later with updates, and hopefully it'll eventually match with what was promised originally. This approach spans across gaming, cars, smartphones, you name it. Games launch with tons of bugs under the excuse of being an alpha. Cars hit the market missing features that you paid for, promising to come out later via an update. And smartphones? Well, every launch seems to have that one big feature promised for later in the year. Now, AI products are taking this trend to the extreme. You buy something that's barely functional with a laundry list of promised features that may never materialize, and yet you're paying full price from day one. It's frustrating for buyers and reviewers alike. How do you review a product based on what it might become 3 years versus what it is now? A total letdown. Sure, it's great that products can improve over time with updates, but let's face it, the flip side is a flood of half-done products hitting the market, and it feels like this trend isn't going away anytime soon. There's more scoop on the Rabbit R1. Apparently, the developers messed up big time. We're talking about some seriously catastrophic code blunders. Like, they hard-coded API keys directly into the code base. A huge facepalm moment, I know. For those who don't, this means anyone who got their hands on these keys could read, alter, or straight up brick every single R1 out there. And get this, they left out keys for 11 Labs, Azure, Yelp, and Google Maps wide open. The worst one was 11 Labs, which handles the AI voice stuff. Imagine having the power to mess with every response the R1 gives. It's like a hacker's dream come true. But wait, it gets worse. Rabbit knew about this for a month and did nothing. They just crossed their fingers and hoped no one would notice. Seriously? That's like ignoring a fire alarm and hoping the fire goes out on its own. Now they finally rotated the keys, but the damage was done. Luckily, no user data got nuked this time, but it's a stark reminder why you never ever hardcode API keys. It's like leaving your front door unlocked with a sign saying, "Help yourself." Rabbit One is, was, and will always be a disaster. Humane's AI pen is no different. I'll be posting a video on that, so make sure you subscribe to the channel to get notified when it comes out.